Welcome, focus on real estate Salone.
So we have no market data in terms of the price of property as well as
Hello and welcome to the fourth edition of the Focus on Real Estate Salone show. This is an exclusive show that is brought to you by Global Salone Property and Investment Company Limited to educate you on laws, regulations and procedures on buying, selling, renting and leasing all types of properties, as well as the government's process of allocations of state lands in Sierra Leone. This show will be hosting different guests who are experts to share their experiences and knowledge on issues related to the real estate industry, both local, regional and globally. Do you know the most significant impediment to purchasing property in the Republic of Sierra Leone's western area is the underlying encumbrances? This could be because the property has claims from multiple individuals, each with their documents. The property is under court injunction. The seller lacks proper title. The seller is ineligible to sell, or the property is affected by a government development project or falls within restricted government areas. Since you have no choice but to buy properties, you must take precautions against these risks by performing a thorough title check. Conducting a property title search and verification in the western area of the Republic of Sierra Leone entails huge steps. The general goal of verifying a property is to determine if the property has a good root of title, and if not so, to identify any faults on the property's title. However, in today's series, we will be dealing with these underlying factors to raise more awareness among property buyers and sellers. Thus, for this tremendous and crucial discussion, we have a renowned personality who is no less a person but lawyer Habib Labay Kamara. Mr. Kamara is a barrister and solicitor of the Superior Court of Judicature. Barrister Kamara will be taking us through this fantastic session. Hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, Barrister Kamara, it is evident that some of the factors that I listed earlier are the things that hinder the purchasing of properties in Sierra Leone. In that light, sir, can you please give us a general explanation of the meaning of due diligence?
Yes, just as you mentioned earlier, due diligence generally, if I can relate to the layman, is taking steps to ensure that at the end of the day, you don't get to buy property from the wrong person, so that you check all necessary processes. For example, if you have to check on the documents, if you have to check on the property, if you have to check on the owner to ensure whether to ensure that the person you are purchasing the property from is the actual owner, because you not want a situation where you will have purchased the property and at the end of the day, and then you see different people claiming to be the rightful owner to that property. It will lead to several other things. So before purchasing, it's best to do due diligence by the way of checking whether the person you're buying is the rightful person, whether the land, even if the person is the rightful person, there are situations where you might buy a property from a person, he is the owner of that property, but maybe he has leased or mortgaged that property to some other person who have some other rights to claim to that property. So you have to check all of it to ensure that property is not a mortgage property, so that when you come to buy it at the end of the day, you will not have any problems when you buy them.
Yeah, so basically it's about checking about the validity of the property.
Certainly.
Okay, so this is indeed interesting. Assuming you want to buy a land and you are told it has no documents, can someone still go ahead with
Yes. We've seen practicing the law. We've seen several of those situations. Not every land has documents, because probably there are several ways within which you can become an owner of a property. One of such is probably will have stayed at that property for a very long period of time without no disturbance from any other person. In law, we call that adverse possession. if you have stayed for a property for over 12 or over so many years, and everybody in that community recognizes you as being in that property without any disturbance, nobody claiming to it, a law will say if there is any bona fide purchaser or any other person claiming any rights to that property, then that property will become yours. So if you want to pass it to another person by way of selling it, leasing it, or even wanting to give it as a gift, then you can give that property without having a document to it, so based on the fact that you're adverse to having that property to adverse.
Okay, in some situation, if there's a document, how can one check the validity of the document, if it's authentic and all of that?
Yes, there are two ways. When you say documents, probably it will be better for me to ask. Probably if you're asking with regards the survey plan, or because there is also what we call a conveyance, which is the final document after you have purchased the property. You know, the conveyance is what is conveying the property to you for you to be the actual owner of that property. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, there is what we call the survey plan. For the survey plan, the best way to check, there are processes to check to ascertain the validity of a survey plan. Check to ensure that there is a LS number, check to ensure that indeed it is registered with the appropriate authorities. And then for the conveyance, you just have to ensure that it is registered with the administrator and registrar general. To be honest with you, it's a very difficult task, but you have to ensure you do or follow all those processes to ensure you're on the safer side. Because you not want to invest millions and millions of leons on a property, and then at the end of the day, you have someone claiming, and actually that other person might be the owner of that property. So to safeguard yourself or your client, it's just best that you check. If you want to check the validity of the documents, check at OXI. If it's a survey plan, you want to confirm actually the area within which you are buying, you can go to the Ministry of Lands. They have the necessary personnel there who will help you out with them.
I think this is really very interesting. So it is now time for us to go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we are going to be looking at this topic in depth.
Have you wondered why prices of properties for rent and sale differs in the east and west part of the city of Freetown? Do you want to know about the economic and social lifestyle of people and the available amenities in the different communities in the city? The extent of real estate development in terms of demand and supply of properties? Why property buyers, renters, expatriates, and diplomatic communities are attracted to certain communities? That is why the City of Freetown with Global Salone Show is bringing you an amazing first-hand information on the historic background, if any, the property type, the housing structure, and the classes of people in the various communities in the Freetown municipality. If you are a property investor or professional, this information will aid your decision making when selecting a community or targeting a price. If you are a tourist wishing to visit Sierra Leone or are in Freetown already, this information will give you heads up on the various locations you would love to visit. If you are a landlady or landlord or tenant, this information will help you to know what others are asking or paying for a similar apartment or house. So, make sure you join us monthly on all our social media platforms to get a detailed information about various communities in Freetown and get all the answers you need for free. With Global Salone, experience the difference.
Welcome back from our commercial break. We still have with us Barrister Kamara. So, Barrister Kamara, who should undertake a due diligence check on the document and how long must it last?
With regards to due diligence, which of course I've mentioned earlier, which to ascertain whether the person you're buying from, as I mentioned earlier, is the rightful owner, it is not encumbered from any other thing again. It is best advisable you seek the advice of a professional. Okay. So most times people go to lawyers, and then there are now estate agents who sometimes undertake such activities, But as I mentioned, the best advice I would give anyone is to seek the services of a professional, because you alone, you might want to go to Roxy, you never know what you will meet there, you don't even know the processes, and then at the end of the day, you'll become mixed up, and then you will not even be able to ascertain whether what you've done is the right thing for you to go and purchase a particular property. So that is the first side. The second side, with regards to time, I cannot give any specific timeline. to say 1 week, 2 weeks. No, it just depends how fast you can do it. You can take 1 week, you can take 2 weeks, you can take 3 weeks, 1 month. It just depends on because there are different scenarios. Depending on the scenarios you are faced. If it's not so much of a difficult task, then it's easy. But if you have so much task, then you have to spend long period of time. So there is no specific timeline, definitely. All you have to take into consideration is the activities that may involve, because some activities may differ from the others. So the time basically may depend on what specific activities you'll be undertaking to conduct your due diligence.
Okay, thank you so much. So finally, what would be your advice to those who do not do the following search of the property before purchasing it? Those who do not also involve professionals in this process. We have a lot of people that are out there pretending to be professionals in some certain fields. So what would be your advice to those listening to you?
Yes, the best advice is for them firstly to stop, because you should not undertake that without conducting the services of a professional. That is the first advice. And generally, there are several repercussions which you face if you intend to go by it alone without seeking the services of a professional. So firstly, if it's because companies also buy properties, it may not even mean individuals.
Okay.
So for example, if it's a company, you are buying a property without conducting or seeking the services of a professional, one of the first things you'll face is reputational damage. Because as a company, if you, at the end of the day, it is found out that company A has purchased a particular property for which they should not have purchased if they have done due diligence, imagine the backlash it will have to, probably if it has customers or people following that particular company, a huge backlash will follow. So many people might even think, this company is not even doing what they should do in following the law. It will have certain negative impacts or repercussions, as you mentioned, against that particular company. For individuals, it will lead to damage, several financial loss, because if you've invested millions of loans, going out to purchase a property, we all know how expensive it is. Exactly. If you've spent millions of loans or thousands of loans based on the new currency now to purchase a particular property, and at the end of the day, it turns out that the person who purchased that property from is not the owner, then probably you might have lost a huge sum of money trying to even find that person now. Because sometimes when these people, some of them are aware that they are not alone in this property. They should not even sell or deal with these properties. But they will deal with them and sell them to you. At the end of the day now, you have all that problem to go and find them, looking for them here and there. And to look for them, it involves lots of financial activity. So all of that loss, to guide yourself against that loss, to guide yourself against that reputational damage, the time alone, aside the reputational damage and the financial loss, you'll also have to spend lots of time to be going here and there, try to check, to see how to solve it. Of course, the frustration alone, you not want to go into that area. It's very, very difficult. So it's best advice is to seek the service of a professional to prevent yourself from getting into such loss, financial loss, reputational damage, wasting of your time, to go and do what you should have done earlier on. So basically, that is the advice for people listening, and then it will be okay if you, in summary, if you follow or seek the advice of a professional, so as to prevent yourself from any further harm against buying property from the wrong owners. Because when you seek the service of a professional, that particular professional will know what to do. So at the end of the day, you will not face with any embarrassment, any damage, any loss. You'll be on the right side with, you will enjoy your property basically. Nobody will come and disturb you whilst you are building or trying to take over. Nobody will disturb you. In law, it is called you have quiet possession of your property.
Okay, thank you so much, Barrister Kamara. This discussion is really very important, and I believe it will serve as a guide for most people out there who have interest in buying properties and all of that. I strongly believe that this particular episode will serve as a guide for people out there who are really interested in buying property or investing their time and money in buying property and all of that. Thank you so much. This topic is really very interesting, but because of time, we have to stop here. And we really hope to have you in our subsequent edition. Thank you so much for making it a point of duty to be here. We really do appreciate it.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
This is how we have successfully come to the end of the 4th edition of the Focus on Real Estate Salone show. We hope you have benefited a lot from this episode. If you have comments, questions, and recommendations, please send them on WhatsApp on the number showing on the screen. We promise to read them in our subsequent edition. Please follow all our social media platforms, especially on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. I've been your wonderful host, Khadija Tubari.
So we have no market data in terms of the prices of property as well as